known.
All cameras seeing it?
I go down to
All
the
right.
honky tonk.
And
We gotta get that one.
Sync.
And hey folks, I'm John Rich and welcome to The Pursuit. I think most Americans believe in setting goals, laying out plans, and working towards an end result. That's generally the recipe for success. But sometimes you can spend your whole life with a certain dream in mind only to have it taken away in a flash. Country music star Jake Owen always thought he'd be a big-time pro golfer. Why? Because he loved it, and he was great at it. He was making his way through the ranks when he ran headlong into a life-altering accident that resulted in reconstructive surgery of his shoulder. With time on his hands and a lifelong dream ended, Jake had to rebuild, rethink, and refocus his life. After several years of hard work, determination, and digging deep, Jake began landing hit after hit, including huge career songs like Barefoot Blue Jean Night and Down to the Honky Tonk.
Nobody gonna name their babies after me. It might not go down in history, but I'll go down to the honky tonk.
Here's one of my favorites and one of yours, a good old Florida boy, Jake Owen. Welcome to the show,
man?
Jake.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
It has.
So, starting off in your house, you know, you got a twin brother.
Yep.
You saw my son Cash when he walked in here at the house, and he's hitting baseballs and playing basketball. He'd basically do any sport that he can get in there and play. Was that kind of how it was in your house?
Absolutely. When I saw Cash walking in out there with his,
Hitting a wiffle ball.
He had his bat and the wiffle ball, and that's something that I never take for granted. Having a twin brother, as a kid, I always had somebody to throw the ball with. There was always a competition, and I definitely credit that to like how I live my life now. I'm thankful for those years and the formative part of my life where I always constantly had someone pushing me a little bit to beat them or be better.
When you've got two guys the exact same age, living in the same house with the same parents, is everything a competition at that point?
Yeah, I mean, we both are best friends and still are, but we're so different. And it isn't so much about trying to make, you know, it's not like children trying to make their parents more proud of one than the other. It's just, it was ingrained in us as a kid. You just like want to be the best we could be.
Was music coexisting somewhere in your house while all the sports was going on?
When I look back now and I think about how I got into music, and I think about, you know, when I was 10, my older half brother, Steve was 11 years older than me, so he's a 21-year-old guy coming home for the summertime. And he would play everything from like Tesla to the Rolling Stones.
And then the internet shows up, and all of a sudden everything you'd ever possibly could think about hearing is just click, click, click.
I remember when I went to college, it was like 2000. I graduated high school in 2000. So that was right when Napster came out.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And, you know, when you look back as a music industry person and you think, wow, I can't believe people were stealing songs, or I actually think, thank God for it. And so I didn't have much exposure to old country. But I remember, because I loved Alan Jackson and because I loved George Strait, Alan Jackson always talked about his love of Merle Haggard and Lefty Frizzell. And so I think like when you get into that sort of thing, you want to go back and listen, but like I wasn't at a place in my life as a college kid to just go lay money down on an old school Waylon Jennings album or Merle Haggard or whatever. But all of a sudden Napster came out and I'm like, Merle Haggard. And all of a sudden I heard
Walking on the Fighting Side.
Yeah, or Silver Wings, or and I was like, oh my God. And it opened my mind, and that's when I started learning those songs. So at that point in my life, thank God for that, because I opened Pandora's box to the greatest country music.
You know what?
That I could have ever absorbed.
You should have started a company called Pandora back then. You would be a very multi-billionaire man this exact second. Yes.
You're right.
What were you thinking?
I don't know.
Pandora.
I know what I was thinking when I was in college, and it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
It was not that.
It wasn't launching a business.
No, it wasn't.
No. So that's awesome that music is floating around. The sports is happening. That sounds like a really, really fun house to live in. What was your mom and dad like with little Jake?
Steve Owen has instilled in us that like nothing comes easy in this life. If you want something, you got to make it of yourself. And he told me stories of, you know, when he was 18 and had 2 kids and he's working 4 jobs, 3 jobs. He's like, I'd never really slept. He's like, I was going from one job to another just to support our family.
When he was a kid.
And I really credit everything that I've ever done in my life to my family for teaching me those morals and values of how to work hard.
That's a very regimented way to think and very strong way to think. So when you were getting ready to go to college and you're loving hitting golf balls, what was the conversation like when it gets time to go to college and you're saying, I think I want to go hit golf balls at college? Is that how that went?
My dad was semifinalist in the U.S. Amateur, so he was a great player. And I always felt like a kid. I wanted to fulfill these dreams that my dad never got to fulfill. And I was pretty good at it, but I didn't get a scholarship. And I was a kid that quit a lot. Like, my dad probably growing up thought I was a quitter. I tell this story a lot because I think it's important for people out there to know that it's okay to try things. If you don't enjoy it, move on to something else. And that's how I was. I think it's a bit misconstrued story that I went to college on a golf scholarship. I just went there to play golf because my brother got a full ride to Florida State, and I thought, well, shoot, I'll walk on the golf team.
Right.
And that summer I got hurt, and
Yeah.
I couldn't walk on the golf team. And my dad, being the dad I told you he is, was like, get a job. Like, you're not just gonna sit around.
Sorry about your shoulder. Get
Yeah,
a
sorry
job.
about your shoulder. And if you're not gonna do something, like, you're not just gonna sit around college and go to class and then come home and party. Like, you're gonna get a job and learn what it's like to support yourself.